You may have started to hear about the cryptocurrency project known as Solana. It may be known as an Ethereum killer, as the price of the coin has exploded recently, so a lot of attention is towards the project now, and it's really another platform coin. So similar to Ethereum and Cardano, it is a decentralized coin that allows other decentralized apps to build on top of its platform. In this video, we're going to be talking about what Solana actually is, a little bit of the history, as well as my opinion on the coin going forward. While Solana has gotten more attention recently, the company Solana, a crypto startup, was founded actually in 2018, and the purpose of the company was to create a platform for the ability to create decentralized apps and marketplaces. And the founder and CEO of the company is Anatoly Yakovenko. I probably screwed that up, but essentially before Solana, he worked at Qualcomm as well as Dropbox. The question becomes, what makes Solana different from any other platform coin? There's a million of them out there, right? And it really comes down to the consensus protocol, which is using proof of history, which is different from coins like Ethereum and Cardano. Pairing this new consensus type as well as these other innovations, the Solana network proclaims that it can reach up to 50,000 transactions per second. And for decentralized finance and decentralized apps, the ability to have higher output as well as lower fees is massive. So how does proof of history work from a high level? Essentially, every time there's a transaction, there's a timestamp associated with that transaction. So when you have all these transactions going on simultaneously across the entire network, you can organize the transactions based on that timestamp and really understand the record of transactions that are on the blockchain. And there's a network of validators that basically make sure that the transactions as well as the consensus are being followed, which if we compare versus proof of work, which takes all the transactions, puts them into one block, and then that block gets appended to the blockchain, this process of proof of work is much slower than proof of history. With the ability for higher speeds as well as lower fees, the hope is that developers build their own applications on Solana versus something like Ethereum or Cardano. And what's reassuring and great to see for Solana is that developers are building on the platform. So if you look at the ecosystem, there's around 338 projects that are being built onto the Solana network, and across the board, you can see that it's in different kind of industries or different applications. So you have things like DeFi, which in my opinion has the most application, but even for things like NFTs, there's also different projects that are being built on Solana. And if you're wondering how many decentralized applications are built on Ethereum, it's close to 3,000 according to State of the dApps. So Solana has a little bit of catching up to do. And just like Ethereum or Cardano or any platform token, really the value of the platform is based on the network effect. The more applications that are built on Ethereum makes Ethereum worth more, and the more applications that are built on Solana would make Solana worth more. So that's really the goal of the company, is to attract developers and have them build out. And once they've basically kind of solidified their position, that's what makes the value of Solana go up over time, which we're seeing some of that upside already reflected in the price, as Solana has become the 7th biggest cryptocurrency with a market cap of around 42 billion. Now, this thing was trading above 200 and has recently pulled back. There was a shutdown of the blockchain, which we'll talk about. But overall, this thing has gone from $2 at the beginning of the year to $142 right now. So with that price increase, obviously increases the attention to the project, which in a way only helps the project get more publicity and may bring more developers on board. In a way, we talked mostly about the pros already, basically being extremely fast and low fees, which are obviously great things for developers and people that are making apps. Now, let's talk about some of the issues and risks that I see with Solana. As I mentioned, there was a moment where they actually had to shut down the blockchain. And the issue happened recently, and it came down to so many transactions were put through the actual network that it just stopped working. And in order to fix it, they had to actually shut down the blockchain. And in order to do that, they had to have all the validators and stakeholders basically agree, hey, we need to restart this thing in order to make sure that we can actually run this blockchain going forward, because right now it's stuck. Now, with this recent news, a lot of maximalists from other cryptocurrency projects have kind of jumped onto Solana, calling them out and saying that it's more centralized versus decentralized if they can just shut down the blockchain. And honestly, I'd have to agree with them. But to counter that, I would say it's a newer blockchain that hasn't been tested over a long period of time. So hiccups like this allows the blockchain to kind of realize the errors, and also it needs more validators over time. So it needs more people to join the network and become validators to become more decentralized. So at the beginning of pretty much most cryptocurrency projects, it's going to be centralized. Same thing happened with Ethereum, and over time it becomes more decentralized as more people kind of get involved with the project. Because if we look at the number of validators, it's currently over 1,000, but around 19 hold more than 33% of the total stake. If these kind of bigger players collude, they can have more of an effect on the network versus all these other validators that have a much smaller impact. Another concern is with the initial token allocation. And so with Solana, 48% is with insiders. So that's either the team, company, venture capitalists, and compared versus other cryptocurrencies, it's a higher percentage. And for me, this is kind of one of those, it could be a pro or a con based on the team. Because if insiders are holding onto their tokens and they're not dumping onto the market, well, that's great. But at the same time, you're trusting insiders won't dump onto the market if something happens and they want to raise capital. Overall, with all the pros and cons, I still like the project personally because of the different consensus and the ability to maybe scale better. Because in my opinion, the decentralized finance or decentralized application world needs higher outputs and lower fees. And I know Ethereum and Cardano are also trying to increase their throughput because they all realize this. The higher the throughput can be, the better the system will actually work. So has the hype caught up to Solana and raised the price? Possibly. But over the long term, if Solana really does get the trust of developers and more applications built on Solana versus something like Ethereum or Cardano, it's nothing to ignore and you have to pay attention. So it's a competition. And so if they build better developer tools and tech versus Ethereum, I like to diversify a little bit. So for me, on any major pullbacks, I'll probably add a little bit of Solana to my portfolio, kind of as a hedge, because hey, maybe it's an Ethereum killer, probably not, but maybe. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that like button, as well as consider subscribing to Main True Wolf, where we talk cryptocurrency, investing, anything to do with money. Thanks guys for watching, and have a great day.